You've been told your whole life, work hard, save enough, and one day, somewhere in the future, you can finally retire. Kick back and do absolutely nothing. I think that message is not only broken financially, it's dangerous emotionally, spiritually, and even physically. Here's what I'm thinking. I'm going to ask you a tough question right up front here. If someone magically wrote you a check so you never had to work a day in your life again, what would you do with your life next Monday morning at 9 a.m.? If your honest answer is, I don't know, I guess relax, that's just the trap I want to talk about. All right, in this episode, we're going to push back against the cultural myth that retirement is about escape and endless leisure, that it's even the goal. We're going to show you how that mindset can actually speed up decline and an early death, and give you a healthier, more purpose-filled picture of what retirement should be that lines up with how you're wired as a human being, with biology, and for many of us, with your faith as well. It's a story we've been told since, kindergarten, elementary school, then on through middle school, is it? Or was it junior high? Whatever it was back in the day, junior high, I think. Now it's middle school. We grew up on the same story. You go to school, work your 40, 45 years, save, put money in the IRAs, the 401ks. Maybe you're lucky if you have a pension. Then finally, you get your prize. You can retire and do nothing but just sit back and enjoy yourself. Golf all day long, cruises all weekend, all summer. Sure, play with the grandkids. They're great gifts. I'm not against any of that. But when those things become the only point of the last 20 or 30 years, what were you doing along the way? Or the whole point of your whole life? Well, that, for me, is when the wheels start to come off. Here's the problem with the kick back forever version of retirement. You aren't designed for that to begin with. It teaches you that your value ends when your paycheck ends. It treats rest like a permanent destination instead of just a rhythm, a season of life. And it quietly tells you that serving, creating, and contributing are for younger people. From a faith perspective, work was given before the fall. It's part of how we image God, not a punishment to escape from. And hey, this is really important, from a health perspective. When people lose purpose, what else? They lose drive. And guess what? Your body follows. So it's not just a money issue, it's a meaning issue and a physical issue. All right, we're going to talk about what actually happens when someone retires into a life of pure leisure, right? You can only drink so many Mai Tais and Corona with limes on the beach, right? Well, first, their structure disappears. No alarm clock, no deadlines, no one counting on them. Hey, I've got a German Shepherd that if I don't give him structure, he is all over the place. He needs that. I need that. You need that. A vacation sounds wonderful, right? But that's just a vacation. Don't turn it into a whole lifestyle. It quietly erodes your sense of usefulness. And if your challenges disappear, what happens to your brain and your body? They follow suit. Like muscles, when they're not used, they atrophy. And how about circles? The circles not only under your eyes, but your social circles, they shrink. A lot of friendships, sure, they're built around work, service, and shared projects. Take those away. Then the team, then the sense of mission, and isolation creeps in. You've probably seen this in your fellow coworkers or the ones that have retired. Someone retires, they're excited, sure, it seems like a new adventure they're going on. Maybe they travel a bit. A few years goes by, you haven't seen them for a while, but the novelty of them traveling, to them, it wears off. Their calendar is empty, their health fades, and slowly they disengage from life. And too often, not long after they stop contributing, they stop caring. And maybe you see them again after a few years, and you can't believe it's even them. They've aged. and not longer after they stop caring, they stop living. I'm not saying this to scare you. I'm saying it to wake you up. If your entire financial plan is built around, someday I'll finally get to stop, I want you to flip the script. You're not saving to stop. You're saving to be free. Free to do the most meaningful work of your life without worrying about the paycheck. So what's the alternative? Well, instead of thinking, how do I retire as fast as possible so I can finally relax? Ask yourself this. How do I repurpose this next season so I can give my best self to the people and causes that matter the most? It's a little shift, maybe subtle in some cases, but it changes everything. Money becomes a tool, not a trophy. Retirement accounts become fuel for service, not a cushion for endless entertainment. Your later years become your most strategic, not your most passive. I recently read an article that talked about a different way to think about money using 3 simple ideas. Earn all you can, save all you can, and give all you can. Most of our culture stops after earn and save. But when you bring give into the picture, give your time, your talent, and yes, sure, your treasure, your money. You move from survival to significance. One family in that article set a radical goal. They wanted their giving rate to be double their saving rate, and for their cumulative giving account to be twice the size of their retirement account. Now, that might not be your goal, but do you feel the spirit of that? Retirement isn't, I'm done. It's now I'm finally free to be generous with my whole life. If endless relaxation is a recipe for decline, what do you actually build instead? Well, think in terms of 3 engines that keep you alive and vibrant. Your purpose, people, and practice. Purpose, that's something bigger than you. You need a reason to get out of bed in the morning, right? That isn't just to be comfortable or go down to the McDonald's and get your senior coffee and see how the boys are doing. How about mentoring younger professionals in your field, serving in your church or community on a regular schedule, or turning a hobby into a low-pressure contribution, maybe teaching, coaching, creating. And if you're a person of faith, your purpose might sound like, hey, how do I use the rest of my life to reflect the generosity, beauty, and the love of Jesus? That question doesn't get old just because you hit 65, 66, or whatever age you may happen to be. And people, you need folks, and they need you. We're not built to live on Comfort Island or Solo Island. You need people who depend on you and people you depend on. In practice, that could be like a weekly commitment, tutoring, serving a small group, maybe a volunteer team. Intentional grandparenting. Not just, hey, if we're in town, we'll show up, take the kids out to Chuck E. Cheese's or wherever the place they take them nowadays is. But maybe setting some kind of rhythms where you invest wisdom, presence, teach your grandkids. And how about just friendships in your normal peer groups where you encourage each other to stay engaged, don't drift into the recliner and melt into the couch forever. The point is, you're not just retired from something, you're committed to someone. And how about practice? Get some reps in. Maybe it's something you're still itching to do in your life, a hobby, a craft. Even if you step away from your career, you should never step away from growth and lifelong learning. Maybe a skill you always put off. Maybe starting a business you always thought about and never did, or consulting in your area of expertise. Or you could just dive deeper into an area of study like a language, art, history, even the Bible. You don't age out of being a student. Every time you stretch yourself, you push back against that slide into boredom and decline. Remember, money is a tool for a purposeful retirement. So how does this all fit into your financial plan? Well, instead of asking, do I have enough to stop working? I want you to start asking, Do I have a plan that funds the life I'm called to live in this next season? It's not game over. It includes covering your basic needs with dignity, taking care of your health, long-term care, and the scary, hey, what if this happens? But also intentionally setting aside capacity, the capacity for giving, for serving, for projects that don't pay well, but maybe they matter deeply to you. And for some folks, it might look like working part-time, working longer so you can stay engaged and delay drawing down your portfolio, structuring your withdrawals so you can give meaningfully, every year, not just when you pass away. And building a generosity bucket alongside your traditional retirement bucket. The point isn't to hit a magic number. The point is to align your money with your mission. When your financial plan assumes you'll be active, generous, and engaged, it naturally steers you away from the retire and rot and melt into the couch mentality. Never good for your health. All right, if you're watching this and thinking, well, okay, I've been planning for the sailboat and the naps, but now hearing that, okay, what do I do next? Well, how about a few questions to sit with? If you never needed another paycheck, what meaningful work would you still choose to do? How about who are the 3 to 5 people or groups of people that you feel most called to invest in over the next 10 to 20 years? And what gifts, experiences, and lessons have you been given that are too valuable to take to the grave? How could your savings and retirement accounts become fuel for that mission, not just insurance for your comfort? All right, get out your journal, write all those down, talk them over with your spouse or a close friend or even an advisor. Your next chapter should feel less like an ending and more like a reassignment, a new mission. All right, if you're in that 50-plus crowd and it's something stirring inside you after hearing some of this, maybe you're realizing you don't just need a retirement plan, you need a purpose plan. Let me know in the comments below how you see retirement. Finally, I'm done? Or is it, I can chill? Or maybe it's, I'm just getting started living my best life. If this episode challenged how you've been thinking about retirement, why not share it with somebody who maybe is thinking about retiring, or maybe they're already retired and maybe they're thinking about changing that lifetime or lifestyle in retirement, maybe going back to work or getting a side gig. You've worked too hard and come too far to let the last third of your life be smaller than the first two. All right. In the meantime, I'll see you in the next episode.